Okay, we're live. I bought this game on Steam a couple days ago and finally played it today. I thought it would be really funny to play it on stream, so here I am. It's basically a roguelike puzzle game where you need to solve puzzles to increase your power. Let's just get right into it. We have to go through the tutorial first, which will explain the mechanics. Within these 4 treasure boxes, there is only one mimic that lies. Try to find that mimic. Checking the treasure icon on the right will show you what all the treasure boxes have to say. This should make it easier to make your guess. If you find the lying mimic, open all the other chests. This sounds like something from StarCraft. Like when something exits a bunker. The box on the right is not a mimic. The box below me isn't a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. So one of these boxes has to be lying. We can see on the top that we only have one mimic. So this one has to be the liar, because this one is supported by other boxes. Yeah, it's a liar always lies, truth teller tells truth kind of game. To make it fair to the mimic game, I also bought a couple of beers. And I have the stream here to distract me. The puzzles are generated automatically, so you won't know the positions of mimics every time. There may even be times when you have to decide to keep moving ahead without opening even a single treasure box. I've only had this happen once. It doesn't come up too often. There is no mimic among the black boxes. There is a mimic among the red boxes. The top row contains a mimic. The leftmost column contains a mimic. Now, this statement is true. We know this because if this box was lying and it says there is a mimic in the red boxes, the lie would be there isn't a mimic. Wait, I'm explaining that horribly. Point is, a chest cannot refer to itself and say that it's a mimic. So this has to be a true statement, meaning the top row contains a mimic has to be a lie. We can just tick the other ones, since we know there's only one mimic. Ooh, I want to get to the bonus difficulty. That sounds fun, with mimics telling truth sometimes. This is a shop. No money though. Moving on. The more time passes, the hungrier you become. If your gut reaches 0, the game is over. So try your best to finish puzzles quickly. I don't really have a schedule yet. I'll probably start streaming consistently around 2 hours earlier than what I'm streaming now. I kind of overslept. At the moment we only have one mimic, but there could be a much higher number. There is a mimic among the red boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes. These are obviously not mimics, because there's only one mimic, and they say the same things. This one supports this. Click to eat all the candy and equip best buttons on the right to strengthen your character. You can also manually equip stuff and use items from here. We're not gonna bother with that just yet. Yeah, I'll probably set up a Discord or something the next few days, since I'm starting to stream more regularly. There are 6 boxes from here on. When listening to treasure box hints, click the square to the left of the treasure to make guesses easily. It's talking about this, I guess. The leftmost column contains a mimic, so this one. The leftmost column contains a mimic. So both of these have to be correct, because there's still only one mimic. Since this one is correct, this has to be wrong. This one is correct, and there's only one mimic, so we can just click the other ones. The top row contains a mimic though. Wait. So leftmost column is this one, right? And both of them say it's a mimic. There's a mimic there. So neither of them can be a mimic. So this one has to be a mimic. The top row doesn't contain a mimic. The bottom row contains a mimic. Oh, I read this as the top row for some reason, yeah. Never mind. The hardest part about the game is just not losing focus and misclicking something, or misreading something and then forgetting. Oh no, the chest can speak. The girl with us is a chest whisperer. She speaks for them. The box on the right is a mimic. The box below me isn't a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. So either both are mimics or both are correct. We only have one mimic, so they both have to be correct. So this one is right. This isn't the early stages, this is the tutorial. What's gonna make this fun for you anyway is that I'm really not good at logic games at all. And I've added some beer into the mix because who wants to solve logic puzzles all sober? So I'm definitely gonna get a bunch of mimic jump scares on this stream. The box below me is not a mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. We know this is true. The box on the left isn't a mimic, so this is the mimic. Oh wait, I fucked up. Why? Oh, this was saying it is a mimic. I read it as it isn't a mimic. Can I skip the tutorial? Fuck, I have to play it again. Let's go through it faster. I just misread the chest. I thought it isn't a mimic. I'm gonna get a bunch of that. That's what the beer is for. Isn't a mimic, isn't a mimic, is a mimic, isn't a mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The leftmost column contains a mimic. The bottom row contains a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. Is a mimic. Fuck. Multitasking while playing this is hard. Okay, so let's assume this is correct. The box on the right isn't a mimic. Then the leftmost column contains a mimic. And so these are all correct. What if this box is a mimic itself? Then if this is a mimic, this has to be a mimic, so that doesn't work. So this box has to be true. Because we can only have one mimic. And if this box is a mimic, then this box is a mimic. Ignore the shop. Let's see if we survive the tutorial this time. There is no mimic among the black boxes. When a box says this, I always assume it's lying, but it's not always true. Because, you know, it's like saying, I'm not here to eat you. Why are you looking at me? There is a mimic among the black boxes, there is a mimic among the red boxes. The box above me isn't a mimic. The game is called Mimic Logic. You can get it on Steam for $4. Yeah, the random difficulties was really fun when I played it. Where you have like one or three mimics. Figure it out yourself, asshole. Let's go with this box, because we're assuming this box is correct. Which means this box is correct. There is a mimic among the black boxes. So that's one logic. If we assume this box is a mimic, then this box here has to be a mimic, you know. Because a mimic statement is basically the box above me is a mimic, but reversed. So this box has to be true, this box has to be true. And we know there is no mimic among the black boxes. Let's see if I manage to fuck something up now. Apparently not. I need more beer. The fights here are pretty trivial. They're just here to give context to your looting. Some of the fights are even optional, you can skip them. By the way, you can always just walk past the chests without opening anything. there is a mimic among the red boxes. This is always true when a box of the same color says it. At least on this difficulty. Have I won this game before? I just got it basically. I haven't had it for long. I basically got it yesterday, played it a bit and thought it would be hilarious on stream, so here we are. This all the same shit. This is a fucking liar because it contradicts every other box. Can we win the tutorial? Can probably just turn to the end. That's StarCraft sound. The box below me isn't a mimic. The leftmost column contains no mimic. Oh yeah, is this what we managed to die to earlier, or was it something similar? Something similar. The leftmost column contains no mimic, so if this is true, then this is true. The top row contains no mimics. The rightmost column contains a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. So both of these boxes are basically saying the box here is a mimic. This box contradicts this box, and this box confirms it. So this is the only liar. We can ignore all the other boxes. Yay! I'm not using the spell. Fuck off. One-shot birds. Bird murderer. Let's go. We completed the tutorial. We're amazing. Need more beer. The item we got lets us upgrade our shit. Slow down hunger rate, strength for starting gear. I'm not running into hunger issues, so I'll start by strengthening the gear. This shows you your times on different difficulties. And this shows the item. Yes, I completed the tutorial. I'm truly amazing. These are like the achievements in the game. And this is the Chest Whisperer. Teaches you some basic logic ideas to use here. Let's move on to the first difficulty. It's mostly puzzle. The fighting is there just to give meaning to the puzzles. The rightmost column contains a mimic. The leftmost column contains a mimic. The top row contains a mimic. The top row contains a mimic. So these are both correct, because they say the same shit. We don't know which one is lying, so we're just gonna have to leave one on the first floor. Yeah, the stat checks aren't hard, so sometimes it's better to just leave the chest if you're not sure. The leftmost column contains no mimics. The leftmost column contains a mimic. The bottom row contains no mimics. The top row contains a mimic. Oh my god, this is so ass. Okay, so we know these two are correct because we know the mimic is up here. These two are contradicting each other, so one of them has to be a mimic, so the other two are fine. Both of them are saying... Wait, actually I think this isn't a 50-50. Lay off the beer for a bit. So this one is saying there isn't a mimic here, this one is saying there is a mimic here. No. If this is a mimic, if this is true, then it just means the chest is here and it's lying. Fuck it, it's 50-50. Need more beer. Yeah, the 7 chests pointing are the easiest ones, because you just follow the logic. The most annoying ones are when they all break off into their separate chain. Let's check the shop for something I can't buy. Oh, cheaper candy. Very nice. Plus 1 attack. The worst ones are when you have a bunch of chests, but they break off into smaller groups that argue with each other. So you can't figure out what the chests are from each other. So far I'm about 700 milliliters of beer, which is absolutely nothing. I don't think I can actually do a drunk beer. I couldn't get drunk on beer if I tried. I'll end up with a light buzz at best. There is a mimic among the red boxes. I'm just assuming this is true. Maybe, actually it isn't. There is a mimic among the black boxes. This liar lies, so this is correct. So this is correct. The top row contains a mimic, so that one's the mimic. Yay! Let's use our bow in melee range. Or maybe that's a whip. Or maybe it's just a snake we picked up somewhere and we're smacking him with a snake. Maybe I can just read. Iron whip. Yeah, it's a whip. That's why it's in melee. The top row contains a mimic, the top row contains a mimic, the top row contains a mimic, the top row contains a mimic. We got it. Holy fucking shit. The bottom row contains no mimic. Obviously fucking correct, so this one is a mimic. Four fuckers with 6 health. Die for my wood. Yay! I got candy. The box below me is not a mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The box below me is a mimic. Okay, so this is the same as the first puzzle we had in the tutorial, just with extra boxes. So this one has to be the mimic. Because otherwise all of these are also mimics. No, this game... SVBB, this game is much better to play when you don't have any brain power left. Because it's ultimately a test of your attention span more than anything. If you get distracted, that's what really kills you. Let's see if we can repair the whip from the shop. This repairs clothes, not whips. This will protect us from the mimic eating us once. We're not a coward, so we're gonna skip this. Do we have another weapon that's shittier than the whip, so I can keep it for later? Yeah, we do have 7, 14, 13. We'll go with the power wand. Yeah, the chat is literally here to distract me. That's what the beer is here for too. It's the distraction challenge run. Yay, 2 mimics. We're getting into the good shit. The game has Fear and Hunger UI, just kind of means it's made in RPG Maker, no? How do I deploy cutter? Please teach me, chat. The box on the right is a mimic. Actually, let's mark them with 1, because sometimes I accidentally open all the chests and die before I change the markings. The box on the right is a mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. The box above me is a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. Okay, so assuming this one is correct, these all have to be correct. So then this one will be a liar. The box on the left isn't a mimic, and the box above me isn't a mimic. Okay, so we can see that this box is wrong. Or a liar rather. Because if this box is correct, we only have 1 mimic possible. But there's 2 mimics. So this box is a liar. And then we only have 1 other mimic. Wait, maybe I'm fucking this up somewhere. Okay, got it. This one is saying it's a mimic, it's lying. This one is saying this one is a mimic, and it's lying. Since we know this one is lying, that means it's saying the box on the right is not a mimic. Then, therefore, the box here is correct. Therefore, this box is correct. These don't matter, we're out of boxes. That's also entirely possible. Was this 50-50 or am I just stupid? Need more beer. The box on the right is a mimic, the box on the left is a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic, the box on the right isn't a mimic. Okay. Logically, these two are correct, right? Because one of these has to be a liar. They can't both be mimics, obviously. There is a mimic among the red boxes. There is a mimic among the black boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes. Okay, so these two are correct. So since we know there's a mimic here, this isn't a mimic. Attack the innocent plants! Attack! Candy! Yeah, you can not open any chest, you can just go to the next door. There is no mimic among the red boxes. This is self-referential, so it's almost certainly a fucking liar. Same for me. The box above me is a mimic and the bottom row contains no mimics. Assume this one is a mimic. The bottom row contains a mimic. Then the box above me is a mimic. So let's assume this is a mimic. Then this can't be a mimic because we only have one. So we'd end up with two mimics if this is a mimic. So this one has to be true, which means this is true, which means this is a liar. Eat the candy we murdered the plants for. Oh shit, we have no weapon. Doesn't matter. Beat it to death. Yay, 6 chests. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Correct, because only one mimic. Same logic here. Same logic here. Done. This one is just was saying something that contradicts others. There is a mimic among the black boxes, this is always right. This is the only other black box, and this one can be a mimic. So there is not a mimic among the red boxes, so all of these are true. Actually, there's one mimic, I don't know why I'm reading the rest. I wonder if trying to explain my thought process is making me better at this or worse. And is the beer worse for it? Or not? Questions for later. More beer. You can kind of brute force the game to an extent. You still need items. But you can buy health potions from the shop. If you stack up a bunch of them and range damage, you can get past the last fight. This is the anti-50-50 item. It opens one chest. We'll get one of those. And let's go. Now we don't need food. Fuck it. The leftmost column has one or more mimics. Assuming this is true, this has to be a mimic. The bottom row contains no mimics. The leftmost column contains no mimics. This one says the same thing, so either they're both wrong or both correct. Okay, let's follow that logic thread. So let's say both of these are correct. Meaning this is a mimic. And it's the mimic here. The top row has at least one mimic, could be a lie. The bottom row has at least one mimic. So if these two are correct, then these two are the mimics, because this one says there is no mimics here. It contradicts this. How about one's version? Let's try it the other way around. What if these are wrong? It means this isn't a mimic, and this isn't a mimic. But this could be true or false either way. So this also works. Is there a way to resolve this without using the bow? Let's try to follow some different logic path, other than this one. These two are also contradictory, so they should always be in opposition. Wait, yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, so this isn't possible, this is wrong, because of this contradiction happening. So it should be like this. Let's see if we manage to die. The zero indexes in IS4 is a good reference to this actually. It's kind of similar where you have to guess work what the stage is and prepare for it accordingly. But that's more just calculated guesses. You can watch your way out of most of these ones. Okay, the box below me isn't a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. The top row contains no mimics. The rightmost column has one or more mimics. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. The box below me isn't a mimic. Okay, let's start with somewhere. Let's assume this is true, then this is true. Actually, this is true regardless. So this is 100% true, because a liar cannot tell the truth. So one of these has to be a mimic. The top row contains no mimic, so this is definitely a liar. So this one is true. The box above me isn't a mimic. Yeah, it's good for overthinking things. I'm kind of the opposite of that, and I'm very much underthinking things. So it's a weird game for me. But I've had fun with it so far. The box below me is a mimic. I'm just gonna say liar, I'm tired of saying mimic. There is a liar among the black boxes. There is no liar among the black boxes. That's also annoying. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. So these two either have to be both true or both wrong. We'll just check both. So if there is no mimic, then it has to be the black boxes. So the bottom row has at least one mimic. So it looks like this. Wait, not necessarily. The box below me is a mimic. There is a mimic among the black boxes. Yeah, it looks like this, but they actually follow the correct logic chain of checking this first. Okay, so now, what if these two are the liars? There is a mimic among the blue boxes, namely this one. There is a mimic among the black boxes is instantly wrong, because we already have two mimics. So these are true. This is true. And the black boxes are the liars. More beer. Let me just double check what I clicked, so I don't kill myself for not paying attention. Yet. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. There is a mimic among the black boxes. The bottom row has at least one mimic. There is a mimic among the black boxes. The box below me is not a mimic. Smack it twice for the kill. And we really need to go eat some food. Shit, more chests. The box on the right is a mimic. If you swap them with civilians, you can just leak them all, though. I actually really would have liked if Chapter 12 had an element like this, but in Arknights, the oldest civilians are preset, so you always know which ones they are once you play the stage a couple of times. Okay, we're just gonna... This is one of the chain ones, so we just assume one is correct and check. The box on the right is a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. Diagonal up right from me isn't a mimic. So this is a mimic. Instant contradiction. Wait, no. I'm getting lost somewhere. The box on the right isn't a mimic. Diagonal down right from me. Oh yeah, that's fine. This box is saying that this is a mimic in liar speak. Yeah, that makes sense. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. We're ending up with too many mimics. So this isn't a mimic. Because if this was a mimic, then this is a mimic and this is a mimic. So this has to be true. So this is true, so this is true, so this is a mimic. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. Incorrect. The box on the right isn't a mimic. Correct. Diagonal down right from me isn't a mimic. This is probably correct. Fuck, I'm running out of food, aren't I? Yeah. Do we have anything to eat? Fuck. Okay, let's just assume I'm correct. Thank Wicked. Okay, so it was these two. Diagonal upright from me is a mimic, is what this one was supposed to say. Oh fuck, I thought it was talking about this one. Reading comprehension is hard. It's not my fault. For some reason I thought it was talking about the left box. That happens a lot. The box above me isn't a mimic. Okay, this have to be true. Because this one is saying this box is a mimic, and if it's lying, it's the mimic. The box on the left is not a mimic. The box below me isn't a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. The box above me is a mimic. This is literally the same puzzle, what the fuck? RNG is letting me get a faster run back to where I was. The rightmost column right has mimic. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes. You're both useless. Okay, so we know these ones contradict. So this one has to be correct and this one has to be the liar. Because black supports red. Attack! Oh my god, the magic actually changed the number of hits it took to kill him. I can't believe it. So these ones are in contradiction. The bottom row contains no mimics. So this one is the liar, okay. Because this one said the same thing and there's two of them and one of this guy. And we know there's one mimic. No massage. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. Okay. My favorite animal is a chicken. It's delicious. The last one had two boxes that said the same thing, and I know there's only one mimic. So, since I had two boxes that basically said that guy is a mimic, it was the only possible mimic. That's why it was solved so fast. Because what all the other chests say doesn't matter then. We don't have the anti-idiot defense, sadly. Buy a rice bowl this time, so I don't starve to death on my way down. And from it, might as well buy a spare weapon. Just in case. This would be fucking hilarious in Arknights. Kyo would get 1 billion views. There are two mimics from here on. The box on the right isn't a mimic, the box on the left isn't a mimic. So you're just arguing between each other, okay? One of this is the mimic, so everything else is correct. Or maybe not, because they're saying isn't, and that's possible. It's possible for both of them to be correct. The box on the left is a mimic, so this is either the mimic or the liar. The box above me isn't a mimic, so let's assume this box is correct. It would look like this. The box on the right is a mimic, the box on the left is a mimic. Oh wait, there's two mimics, fuck. I kept thinking there's still one mimic. Let's start over. More beer. Okay. We'll ignore these two, because they're just fucking each other. Now what they do doesn't matter. The box above me is not a mimic. Let's assume this is true. The box on the right is a mimic. We can just ignore that one, because it's just talking about these boxes. It's true or false based on these boxes. So this pattern is the one that matters. So if this is true, the box on the right is a mimic. Then the box above me is a mimic, is what it's saying. Then the pattern would look like this. The box on the right is... The other option is that they're both mimics, like this, and then everything else has to be correct. Does that hold up? The box above me isn't a mimic. Liar. The box on the right is a mimic. The box above me isn't a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. Yeah, so it has to be these two boxes. These two are correct. The box on the right is a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. Okay, check the above, left, okay. Yeah, the first one is more possible. We definitely don't have more mimics there yet. There is a mimic among red boxes. The rightmost column has one or more mimics. The rightmost column has no mimics. The top row contains no mimics. The box on the right is a mimic. The leftmost column has one or more mimics. Basic directions are important when you're drunk. Well, I'm not drunk, but you get the point. Don't drink and drive. Or play deadly puzzle games with chests that eat you. Okay, so we know this one is correct, so one of these assholes has to be a mimic. Let's assume that this is a mimic. This isn't a mimic. If this isn't a mimic, then the leftmost column has one or more mimics. It's instantly wrong. Unless it itself is... Okay, I'll leave that for a bit. So there's a contradiction here as well. More beer. Okay, so if this box is a mimic and the top row contains no mimics, this has to be the other mimic, and then we get a liar here. So this box has to be a mimic, otherwise we have too many mimics. If this box is a mimic, this box isn't a mimic. I've had very little beer. I'm also very stupid. So the beer isn't the main culprit here. So the top row contains a mimic. Since we know one mimic is here and the other mimic is here, then this chest is safe as fuck. So the rightmost column has one or more mimics. So this one's the liar. The leftmost column has one mimic. Check. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Check. The box on the right is not a mimic. Check. The top row contains no mimics. Fuck. Okay, we can do it. We can just change it like this, right? The top row contains no mimics is correct, because this one has to be. And we have one mimic here and one mimic here. Okay, let's see if it works. I need more beer, clearly. Discount shop, yay! More spell damage. Probably not worth the money, but whatever. This box is accusing this box. Okay. There is no mimic among the black boxes. There is a mimic among the black boxes. The top row has at least one mimic. Okay, where do we start from here? Let's assume this one is correct. There is a mimic among the blue box. Fucking liar. It's obviously only one box. Learn to count. Yeah, I'm not gonna get that drunk and beer that I can't do this. I also don't drink much alcohol, so I'm just gonna stick to the beer though. The rightmost column has one or more mimics. So now I haven't tested the logic of this in game. Let's assume this chest is a liar. Does that mean that there's 0 mimics or that there's 2 mimics? In this particular circumstance, we can exclude the idea that it has 2 mimics, because it itself has to be a mimic, if it's wrong. So, there is no mimic among block chests. The top row has at least one mimic. Checks. There is no mimic among blue chests. Is a lie. Okay, so this chain of logic doesn't work, because then we have a liar here. Can you not hear me? Because I'm definitely not muted. Quiet as fuck definitely, but not muted. Yeah, I was just reading the chat. Obviously, it's just gonna reverse the first chest. Just to confirm, the chat can hear me, right? Because you don't seem to be muted on stream. So, there isn't a mimic here. The rightmost column has... Again, I'm not sure what this means. There is no mimic among the blue boxes, is true, however. Okay. So, the rightmost column has one or more mimics. So again, I'm not sure if this means 0 or 2 mimics in this case. It cannot mean 2, because there's one here. So it has to mean there's 0 mimics here, right? Because there's no way there can be 2 mimics here. One is here. There is no mimics among the black boxes. This is bullshit. Wait, this one is correct. Yeah, it's not lying to me. The top row has at least one mimic. Correct. Okay, double checking my absence of logic. Black mimic, check. Liar, check. No mimic, check. At least one mimic, check. At least one mimic, check. A magic cast to save me some HP would be nice. This time we have some food, so we're not gonna starve to death at least. Leon, I'm also too stupid for this stream, so you're perfect for this stream. Have a good day too. Name that I'm too lazy to read. Refenox? No chance of pronouncing that. Diagonal down right from me is a mimic. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. Self-referential bullshit. The box on the left isn't a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. Okay, let's start from here and assume this is correct. Means this is correct. Means this is a liar. Means this is correct. The box on the left is a mimic. Diagonal up left. Diagonal up right from me isn't a mimic. Correct. Correct. Liar. So that's option 1. Okay. This is probably right, but let's do it the other way around. Because sometimes you get more than one option that is technically logically correct. The box on the left is a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. The box diagonal up right from me isn't a mimic. Too many mimics all over the place. It's better to strike an enemy that's to get a killing blow. Because if I kill an enemy, I can still get the magic attack off on the normal floors. Okay, so this looks wrong as shit, so let's go with the first thing we did. This isn't a mimic, this isn't a mimic, this is a mimic. This isn't a mimic. Upright from isn't a mimic. Left isn't a mimic. This feels too simple and like I'm gonna get eaten. But, fuck it, let's press buttons. Don't forget the candy. Top row contains no mimics. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. The bottom row has at least one mimic. Let's just follow this chain. No mimic, this isn't a mimic. There's at least one mimic here. There's an agreement here, so this one has to be wrong. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. The bottom row has at least one mimic. This matches up. Yeah, this is definitely not correct. Down left, there's only one mimic like this. Let's start the other way around. The top row contains no mimics. It contains this mimic. Or this mimic. Fuck. Let's just ignore this chest for now. It can do its own bullshit until later. Let's assume this is wrong. Diagonal down right from me is a mimic. The bottom row has no mimic. Oh, shut up. Here, stuff your face. So, the bottom row has at least one mimic. Okay, that's already fucked. So, let's assume both of these are lying fuckers. Then this one has to be a lying fucker. Because this one supports this one. And so these ones have to be true. Which means this is definitely a mimic. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. Is a mimic. Wait, let me just check. Yeah, this is correct. Oh, I could have just reached the same conclusion because three chests say the same thing. Whatever. Then this is correct and this one's a lying fucker. Moving on. Birds. Kill the birds. I wanna eat chicken. No, the bow is gonna break. Do we have another weapon? This is useful for later. Almost as good. Let's go with that. Oh, we looked out. Saved the little attack. I think we have a... No, we definitely have a town next. So we're just gonna heal up anyway. Big ass heal. Probably not worth the money. Because health is far from a limited resource. We already have one. Or two. Buy food. Health potion. Attack candy. Fuck, I have no money. I don't want to sell my whip, so... I think this is useless, because the sleeping chests don't spawn. It also sells for fuck all, but... Sell everything other than the whip. Oh wow, these prices. Buy more attack candy. If we one-shot everything, we don't need anything else. Area, I disagree on that. Poo is just CC with a new name. It's not experimenting for shit. The biggest difference between Poo and CC is that the UI, where you pick the risks, is tilted the other way around. I agree that AG like to experiment, and we get a lot of different events, but Poo was not one of them. The bottom row has at least one mimic. The top row has at least one mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. Diagonal down right from me isn't a mimic. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. Pinch out operation. It's just CC. I call it poo because it's shit. Very funny joke, yes, yes. Shit, I ran out of beer. Need more beer. Just a second. I have returned with more beer. Let us continue. Wait, shit, I was losing food all this time. Ah, we're fine. Okay, let's just randomly assume something is correct and go from there. The top row contains no mimics. So the bottom row has at least one mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. We can assume both of these are wrong for a bit. Let's see if that holds up. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. The top row has at least one mimic. Diagonal down right from me is this. Isn't a mimic. Okay, what if we reverse? The top row has mimics. Then, diagonal down right from me may or may not be a mimic. Fuck, this doesn't help me. Let's assume this one is a fucking liar too. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. So this box has to be correct because there's... no. This box has to be correct, otherwise this one is a liar. And this one is a liar. No, this one could be a liar even if this one is correct. No, that doesn't make sense. I've definitely lost my train of thought here. I clearly need more beer. So, diagonal down right from me is a mimic. Let's assume that. Then there is a mimic among the blue boxes. It's entirely possible. If that's true, all of these are correct. This is impossible instantly, because this points to the bottom. So, since this points to the bottom, this has to be correct. Otherwise it creates a chain that leads to... because these are all the possible mimics. So since this one has to be correct, this one has to be correct, which means all of these are correct. So this one is a liar, and this one is a liar, it's this. Let's explain why. The bottom row has at least one mimic. We know that this is correct, because this is correct, and this is correct because this is correct. If we go the other way around, there's too many mimics, more than two. So therefore, this one is definitely a liar, because it blamed one of these two. And this one is supporting it, which means it's also a liar. Is there? Let's see if I die. Blue is best, always trust blue. Except when you shouldn't. Diagonal down left from me isn't a mimic. The top row contains no mimics. There is no mimics among the black boxes. Let's double check this now. Diagonal down left from me is not a mimic. The bottom row contains no mimic. So this is wrong. So this has to be a mimic because it, or somewhere in the chain we have a mimic. Because this leads to a statement that produces a mimic. And we have 3 mimics. Yeah, if you like puzzle games, I'd really recommend it. It's only $4 too. It's so cheap, this stream is probably gonna refund me the cost of the game. Okay, let's get back to the boxes. Enough reading chat. So, which fucking box did I start with? Okay, I start with this box. This has to be a fucking liar. The top row contains no mimics is also a lie, so it has to look like this. Double checking logic, / explaining to stream. There is no mimic among the black boxes. Diagonal down left from me is not a mimic. The bottom row has no mimics. The box on the right isn't a mimic. Diagonal down right from me isn't a mimic. If there is a mimic on top, let's see what happens. If this is true, then this has to be true. And then we end up with the other line. That leads to 3 mimics. There is a mimic in a black box. Let's double check to make sure I didn't fuck up anything earlier. So the other variation would look like this. After you get deeper into a run, it adds a lot of other mechanics. I'll just say wait, shit, I just misclicked that. I didn't mean to open that. I just clicked the wrong button. Back to the start. Fuck, that was near the end. Yeah, I probably got it already. I just clicked the wrong button. The distraction death. Box on right is a mimic. Box on left isn't a mimic. Yeah, I knew I was right. I was just going through the other logic. Because sometimes there's two logics that are correct. Two paths of logic that are correct. And you have a 50-50. And then I just clicked the wrong button. The worst thing is when you click the button, but the chest you don't want to open is right at the end, and you just watch as you open every chest and can't cancel it. And you just know you're going to die, but you can't stop it. Okay, box on the right is a mimic. Box below me is a mimic. So this has to be wrong. Because there's only one mimic, so if this box is a mimic, then this box is a mimic. Misclicks also means losing, dude. The top row contains a mimic. The rightmost column contains no mimic. This is self-referential, so it's 100% true. It's like if a red chest says, there is a red mimic. It has to be true. Because a liar couldn't say it. Meaning this is a mimic. The top row contains a mimic. Can I sell enough shit to buy that? Probably not. Moving on. Yeah, Deep Cover will tackle the mimics with tentacles. They'll get their own. Leon, so a liar can't tell the truth. So if a liar says, I am a liar, that's not a lie, and is therefore a paradox. Do you get it? So, for these logic puzzles, a liar has to always lie. A liar cannot tell a truth. So if a liar says a true statement, that's a paradox. Because then they're not a liar. That doesn't work in real life, by the way. Two chests say the same thing, so this is too lazy to explain. Figure it out yourselves. Yay for magic. No HP loss. Same thing. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Assume this is a liar. That means there is no mimic among the red boxes. But there is one right here. Paradox. So it has to be true. So this one is a liar. I don't want to read the rest. Let's just assume I'm right. I almost forgot the chest. The leftmost column contains a mimic. Bottom row contains a mimic. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. The rightmost column contains no mimic. This is the liar. Two chests say same thing, one mimic. Unless I misread. Let's find out. I guess I didn't. Do I even have to eat? No more on protection again. This is bullshit. There's something you can buy from the shop that prevents you from dying when you open a mimic. Mimic blue box, no mimic blue box. These two saying the same thing. These two same thing. We have 3 boxes saying the same thing. So this means these 3 are right. So there is a mimic among the black boxes. And the black boxes are saying there is... These are the liars. Because we have 2 mimics, and this one is arguing with these 2. Today is my day off. No Arknights. I wanted to play this game. And I just thought it would be really funny if I play it on stream. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Let's assume this is true. There is no mimic among the black boxes. The box on the left is a mimic. This isn't a useful assumption because it gives me multiple lines. Let's start with this one. The box on the left is a mimic. So there is a mimic among the black boxes. So everything else is true. There is a mimic among the black boxes. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. This line is correct. Let's try the other way around. The bottom row contains no mimics. There is a mimic among the red boxes. That's wrong. The other one was correct. Let's see if I can click it right without dying. The bottom row contains no mimics. Is a lie because it's a mimic. I assume it's an RPG Maker game. It looks like one, but I don't know enough about the subject to just say yes. Yeah, being drunk really adds to the experience. I'd recommend it. Into my 2nd liter of beer now, so I'm getting up slightly closer to something that I'd consider drunk. The top row has at least one mimic. These are all correct. So this is correct, because it agrees with these ones, so it's these fucks. We're done. Wait, fuck. What did it say? The bottom row contains no mimics. Oh yeah, this one is self-referential. So it could always be a mimic itself. Oops. I wanted to get back to where I was too fast. I stopped double checking. Bottom row contains a mimic. Leftmost, rightmost, these are arguing, so it's one each other, so this is correct. So this agrees with this. I would suggest to try it out yourself. It's a fun game. It's not as hard as I'm making it look. It's infinitely easier when you're not talking to chat and drinking beer at the same time. I forgot if what I clicked was correct. I guess it was. Correct, correct. Correct. Liar. It's a Steam game. It's called Mimic Logic. You can get it for $4. I mean, you don't have to play sober. So it's either this one, like this. There is no mimic among the black boxes. The bottom row contains no mimics. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. Yeah, it can't be any other way. All the black guys are joining up on the blue guy. Maybe I should start drinking while playing IS2. IS4 as well. But I don't want to become an alcoholic, so I'm not gonna do that. They say the same shit, so they're right. So the other mimic is here. Because there's only one mimic. Box below me isn't a mimic. Box on the right isn't a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. Box on the left is a mimic. The box below me is a mimic. These two chests are ganging up and there's only one. So we can ignore what everyone else says. Gut is fine. No food for you. Do I only get moron protection on the second time I visit here? Because I never seem to have it the first time around. Okay, double mimics. These are arguing with each other. One of them has to be a mimic. So, the box below me is a mimic, the box below me is a mimic. So, since one of these is a mimic, one of these is a liar. Or maybe they're both not mimic, because it isn't. Yeah, this makes more sense. Because one of these has to be a mimic, but one of them is correct. Or both are correct and it looks like this. Let's read through the logic of this. The box above me is not a mimic. The box below me is a mimic. The box below me is not a mimic. The box above me is not a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. This doesn't work. The box below me is a mimic. Switch it around. This works. Yeah. If they're both saying the other is a mimic, then one of them is wrong. It's possible for both of them to not be mimics, but not for both of them to not be mimics. It is also possible for both of them to be mimics. So isn't as useful. Okay, kind of got lost here, so let's start over. One more row on this and then I'm gonna go to the toilet to release some beer. The box below me is a mimic. The box above me is a mimic. This is self-referential bullshit. Ignore these boxes, they're not useful to me. But, so in this case one of them has to be a mimic. Because they're contradicting each other. Because we know the mimic lies, so one of them is wrong. So there's only one mimic left here. If there's one mimic left here, then these boxes have to be correct. Because we can't have both of them be mimics. The box below me is a mimic. We know this is correct, so this is wrong. So we have 3 boxes. This item isn't really worth using in one chest, by the way. Because it costs more than what you would get out of one chest. Because you think I love beer because I'm mentioning beer every 5 seconds, probably. Also, I'm going to the toilet. Can I pause the game in a way where it won't drain my sanity? A true tryhard player would have just left the clock running on them, starving to death. Okay, the box below me is a mimic. The box above me is a mimic. This is the same bullshit. Self-referential shit, ignore them for a bit. This is correct. Either way, one of them is a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. This one is right. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. I don't know. We have two chests that are correct. I should have saved the blue testicle for here. Is there any way I can logically infer what the other boxes are about? Because this one are just arguing with each other. The box on the right, so this one. Okay, let's assume this one is correct. So if this is a mimic, it means this. If this isn't a mimic, it just means the opposite. We have to leave the two boxes untouched. Absolutely a massage, no questions asked. Leftmost column contains no mimics. Assuming this is correct, top row has at least one mimic. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic. So we can confirm that the leftmost column has a mimic, because it's not possible for this to be true. Oh, it is possible if it's like this. The box on the right is a mimic, the box on the left is a mimic. And it's back to not being possible when I read the other two boxes. So the leftmost column has a mimic. This doesn't mean that this one is correct. No, the top row definitely has a mimic. Stop being stupid. And one of these is a mimic. I have no fucking clue which one. Oh, goblin dude. Attack! No more stuff. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. Diagonal up left from me is not a mimic. Okay, I think we can instantly confirm these ones regardless of what the other boxes say. If we assume this one is a mimic, then this one is a mimic, then this one is a mimic. So 3 mimics. That's not possible. So these are all correct. The box on the left is a mimic. Liar. The box on the left is not a mimic. Correct. Diagonal down right from me is a mimic. Diagonal up right from me is a mimic. One of the easier ones. Wait, shit, I have no attack. Add a weapon. Yay for candy. More chests. Top row contains no mimics. The bottom row has at least one mimic. Top row contains no mimics. Okay, this makes it easy. Assume both of these are correct. Then this is a liar. This is correct. This is... The bottom row has at least one mimic. There is no mimic among the black boxes. Is correct, so this has to be a liar. There is a mimic among the black boxes, is also a lie. So that's 3 chests, so that can be right. The top row has to contain a mimic. The top row has at least one mimic, is correct. There is a mimic among the black boxes, correct. So this one is a liar, so this one is correct. There is no mimic among black boxes. The bottom row has at least one mimic. What's my next A9 stream exactly? What's A9 supposed to mean in this context? Top row contains no mimics is a liar. The bottom row has at least one mimic. Fuck, this is still 3 chests. Well... Okay, let's ignore this chest and just assume it's a mimic, but not counted for a bit. Let's pretend this chest doesn't exist. Let's assume this is true. I'm just doing Ascension 15, not Ascension 9. 9 is easy. I'll just do 15. The bottom row has at least one mimic, but we're not gonna instantly assume this one is wrong. Top row contains no mimic. No, that forces us to assume this one is wrong, I think. Because if this one is a liar, then it means the top row contains a mimic. It can't be this one, because they contradict. So this has to be a mimic. So there is no mimic among the black boxes. Is instantly a lie, and that's too many. I'm so fucking lost on this one. Let's start over. Okay, so the bottom row has at least one mimic. There's two saying that. Let's assume they're both wrong. The top row has at least one mimic would be correct in this case. And everything else would also be correct. How does that work out? There is no mimic in the black boxes. Correct. There is a mimic among the black boxes. In contradiction, so this can't be right. Oh, shut up. Here, food, stuff it in your mouth. This one is probably a liar. These ones are always liars. Okay, so these ones always have to contradict, so at least one of them is a mimic. Let's assume top block is correct. That just means that the top row has at least one mimic, so this one is wrong. So there is no mimic among the black chests. The bottom row has at least one mimic. And we instantly contradict. No, never mind. It looks like this. So, if the black chest is correct for fucking once, the top row contains no mimics, has to be this. So then the bottom row has one, and these two contradict. There is no mimic among the black chests, is correct. That's one possibility. The bottom row has at least one mimic. The top row has at least one mimic. 3 chests again. There is a mimic among black chests. 3 chests again. This is so fucky. Yeah, I feel like the top row that this is right, but then this has to be wrong, which means that this is right, and then one of these is wrong. This one is... There is no mimic among the black chest, has to be wrong, and the top row contains no mimics. So it has to be this, right? Let's try that one again. The top row contains no mimics. The top row has at least one mimic, is a lie. There is a mimic among the black boxes. There is correct. There is a mimic among the black boxes, is correct. The bottom row has at least one mimic. This asshole. At least one mimic. This asshole. The top row contains no mimic. I think it's this. If I die, I die. Oh, it's the goblin fuck again. That was a display of basic logic. I need more beer. Probably eat first. Big meal. Fix our health too. We don't have the idiot protection again. Curses. Okay, this is the other idiot protection. The cure potions are to cheese the boss, in case I don't have good items. Yeah, the chests are basically randomly generated. There's obviously some patterns that are gonna emerge, like in any random generation, but for the most part they're randomly generated. This is true. Liar cannot tell a truth. There is a mimic among the black chests. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. The bottom contains no mimics. The top row has at least one mimic. The box on the right is not a mimic. there is a mimic among the black boxes. This is correct. On its own we can't be sure, but we know because this chest confirms it. So one of these has to be a mimic. Or both. Don't forget that option. Let's assume there isn't a mimic among the red boxes. The bottom row contains no mimics, so it looks like this. The top row has no mimics. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. This is valid, but let's see what else we can get. What if this one is a liar too? There is a mimic among the red boxes. The top row has at least one mimic. There is a mimic among the black boxes, is correct. The box on the right is not a mimic, is correct. Okay, so we can eliminate this box instantly, because it's connected to these three, and the black box protects the others. There is no mimic among the red boxes. Let's assume this is a lie, because it can always be the mimic itself. The top row has at least one mimic. So this is also valid. Okay. I'm gonna use an orb. Let's open the three we're sure about. And then we're gonna use one of those items. So we know the bottom row contains no mimics. So this one has to be a mimic. Fuck, that doesn't help. I only get to open one chest. Wasn't worth the orb. Because it could be either one for this. The numbers do nothing, they're just so I can keep my train of thought. Nothing you press here does anything, this is just so you can help yourself. Let's assume this one is correct. There is no mimic among blue boxes. The box on the right is not a mimic. The bottom row contains no mimics. Self-referential shit. The bottom row contains no mimics. There is no mimic among the red boxes. There is a mimic among the red boxes. The bottom row has at least one mimic. That's one option, but there's many other. I'm not getting anything useful from this box. Let's assume it's a fucking liar. For now. Okay. Go with the two boxes that are together. Either they're both wrong or both right. Let's assume they're both wrong. The box on the right isn't a mimic. Okay, that doesn't work. We get 3 mimics instantly. So this has to be true. Because they're all protecting each other. Otherwise we get... If one of them is wrong, we get 3 mimics. So there is no mimic among the blue boxes. Isn't necessarily true. Ignore this box for a bit. The bottom, this one is definitely a liar. So we only have 1 mimic left. Ah, this sucks. Any one of these 3 can be the mimic. Because they're all self-referential, basically. If this is a liar, it just means there isn't a mimic among the red boxes. Then this is correct. This one is just talking about itself, so it can be wrong or right. We're moving on. Can't do anything here. The timer is very lenient, especially on lower difficulties. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The box down left from me isn't a mimic. The top row contains no mimics. There is a mimic among the black boxes. This is always correct. There is no mimic among the black boxes. The top row contains no mimics. The box on the right is a mimic. It's 100% a mimic because this box tells us so, and this one cannot be wrong. This should just be correct. F. Tuż okej. Oh, my weapon broke. Or what? That took a lot of hits. 0 mimics, 0 mimics, 0 mimics. Okay, let's just group the ones that say the same shit. And then we'll assume which one is true and which isn't. 3 goes to the one that say other stuff. Let's start with the ones. So, 0 mimics are hiding in blue boxes. Then there's 2 mimics in red boxes. Then this one is a liar. This one is a liar. This one is a liar. And this one is correct. 3 mimics. That doesn't work. Let's assume these ones are liars for a bit. Or maybe they're true, but I'm missing something else. Okay, if this is true, then this has to be true. Then these are true. Pausing is for cowards. We're playing with the timer on. This is one option. Let's assume they're wrong. They can't be wrong. If there is a mimic in the blue box, we get 3 mimics. So they have to be correct, which means this is correct. So we're just left with this. There's no mimics there, no mimics there, the other ways are mimics. What do you have? Oh no, we still don't have the moron charm. Would have probably got the whetstone instead. Oh, I already have one. Then I can buy another one for later. Rise bows so we don't die. The top row has at least 1 mimic. The bottom row has no mimics. Okay, there's something here with these 3 chests. Let's assume this is correct. That means at least 1 mimic is here. We're going to assume this is correct because if the bottom row has a mimic, that's 2 mimics. And then the top row cannot have a mimic. Yeah, so these 3 chests have to be correct. Because we only have 2 mimics. If this is a mimic, then this is a mimic, so we run out of mimics. So there's at least 1 mimic here. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. This is correct, so this is the mimic. Diagonal down right from me isn't a mimic. Wait, that's correct. 1 mimic is hiding in a red box. Okay, this seems very correct to me, so I'm not gonna click anything this time, in case I misclick and kill myself again. The gut doesn't decrease in this menu, for example. If you're looking at chests, it does decrease. First double check the logic. At least 1 mimic on top. There is no... Yeah, that doesn't work. There is a mimic among the black boxes, has to be correct. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. So that doesn't work here. Yeah, because it's like this, I'm being stupid. The bottom row contains no mimics. The bottom row contains no mimics. By the way, this is like a liar cannot tell the truth, where the same cover chest says this cover has a mimic. No, it's not. I'm bullshitting you. Never mind. Anyhow, these 2 chests together mean that this one is correct, and there's a mimic here. Diagonal down right is not a mimic. Another chest supporting this mimic. 1 mimic hiding in red. I think this is right. What am I doing? Does this kill me? Let's find out. If it kills, it kills. Oh, that was the last puzzle. We're done. What a tragedy. Give me more candy. More candy. Best shit we have. Sell all the unequipped stuff. More candy. Oh yeah, this is wonderful here. There's not even chests on the last floor. It's just this boss guy that's gonna die in exactly 3 hits. Not this. Item. Where's my healing potion? Okay, there we go. 1 hit. 2 hits. And 3 hits. The worst thing about this game is that this chest here isn't a mimic. Why do you not hear boss music? XP, I guess. Now you're gonna do the same thing, but it's gonna be harder. Yeah, if you're the boss of that dungeon, why would you not be guarding a mimic chest is the question. This is just 1 level, bro. That's not the whole game. We just beat the first level. So now we start with 2 mimics. There's other conditions on higher difficulties. They say other shit. Which changes how you have to interpret them. The coolest one is the random one. Actually, I'm just gonna show the random one. Because it's interesting. So let's go and have a look at it. Random. 1 or 2 mimics. We're not sure. So there could be a multiple amount of mimics. It's a fairly long game, I think. Because for every different difficulty, you have chests with different behavior. And you have several of these. I've been on level 3 before. Well, let's go somewhere into this as well. The rightmost column has 1 or more mimic. The bottom row has at least 1 mimic. The rightmost column contains no mimic. Contradiction there. These ones agree, so they're either both wrong or both right. They cannot be both wrong because of this chest. If they're both wrong, then this chest is also a mimic. 3 mimics, too many. So this one is 1 liar. This is correct, and this is the other liar. Because the leftmost column cannot have. There's no penalty for whatever you mark here. This doesn't matter. Like I can just remove the markings. The only thing that matters is when you start opening chests here. And the O is the only thing that you open. Nothing else than the O matters. There should be about a 5-second delay on the stream. I've tried to do it any lower, but it works for me. And it works too much. That's just what my internet can handle. But there shouldn't be more than 5 seconds delay. The rightmost column has 1 or more mimics. Nothing that contradicts or interacts with this. We'll leave it alone for now. The box on the left isn't a mimic, and the top row contains no mimics. Let's assume that one's correct. So that one is a liar. Possible. The box on the right is a mimic. True. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. That doesn't work. So, let's assume that there is a mimic on the top row. Because this could be a mimic itself, and the rest of this could still be correct. Except this one, it has to be like this. The rightmost column has one or more mimics. The box on the left is not a mimic. Okay, so this has to be correct, right? Because if this isn't a mimic, and this isn't a mimic, this cannot possibly be wrong. If this is a mimic, then this is correct. So this isn't a mimic. So it has to be like this. So the box on the left isn't a mimic, the rightmost column has a mimic. The box above me is a mimic. The box on the right is not a mimic. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. I think this is right. Let's see if we die. No death. One shot. I didn't die on the first floor. I need more beer. There is a mimic among the black boxes. The top row has at least one mimic. Let's assume this is correct. It means all of these are correct because this is a liar. There is a mimic among the black box. The bottom row has at least one mimic. The leftmost column has one or more mimics. Okay, so this is entirely possible. It matches the condition of having two mimics. Let's assume this one is a liar. This also works. This one is a liar. And then this doesn't work, because we have three liars at the top, so this box is correct. The bottom row has at least one mimic. These are ganging up. The leftmost column has one or more mimics. Hooray! We didn't die to the second chest. Oh, no damage because of magic. Nice. Diagonal down right is a mimic. The box on the left is a mimic. How much does this hold up? Assuming this chest is correct. Diagonal down right from me is a mimic. Diagonal left from me is a mimic. Already impossible, so this is a mimic. So we only have one mimic left. The box on the left is not a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. The box on the right is not a mimic. Diagonal left from me is not a mimic. Diagonal up... Wait, shit. This is referring to the center. So either one of these could be a mimic. Not a mimic, not a mimic, not a mimic, not a mimic. These guys are in their own unbroken chain. So we can leave them alone. One of these two is a mimic, but we don't know which. Moving on. There is no mimic. Okay, so these are correct because this box is supporting 3 boxes, too many. This is a liar. The box on the left isn't a mimic, is true. Diagonal up left from me isn't a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. Done. Almost out of beer, so we're probably gonna end it in 1 or 2 more runs. Probably not worth the gold, but whatever. Let's have a snack. charm, but we can't buy it. This is bullshit. This is useless. Sure, why not? The box on the left is a mimic, the bottom row has at least one mimic. So if this is true, this has to be wrong. What the hell? Get to the next floor in 80 seconds or you will die. Okay, ignoring that for now. Assuming this box is true, all of these boxes are true. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. The top row contains no mimics. This is wrong instantly. Within the context of this one. There is a mimic among the black boxes. So, going back. So this can be true if it's not a mimic and then I'll still die. Which is fucking hilarious. What if the threatening chest is true though? Okay, so the bottom row has at least one mimic. So there is no mimics here, so this chest is 100% right and I'm gonna die. Let's just open it in the interest of the chest not killing me. The box on the left is a mimic is correct. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. There is a mimic among the black boxes. Fuck. Top row contains no mimics is wrong. This is right. This is right. Let's fuck off. Go, 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 go! I've never seen that one before. It definitely wasn't lying. We know it's it was saying the truth. Because it was we opened it safely, so it definitely wasn't lying. Okay, there is a mimic among the black chests. Useless to assume, ignore for now, but it contradicts with this. There is a mimic among the red chests. The top row has at least one mimic. The bottom row has at least one mimic. This is 100% true. You know, liar cannot tell truth, etc. So there's one mimic on the top. Since there's one mimic on the bottom... Wait, shit. Completely fucked up. There is no mimic on the top then. There is a mimic among the black boxes, correct. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. There is no mimic, fucking liar. Always worth to have one, in case we get a good weapon. And we should have one more on crystal. It keeps us safe. I'm not a mimic. Okay then. There is a mimic among the red boxes. The top row contains no mimic. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. Diagonal up right from me is a mimic. One of these has to be lying. So one of the mimics is here. The top row contains no mimics. Oh shit, this chest isn't lying. Because if this is a mimic, then this chest is lying, and then we have 3 mimics. No way, this chest is telling the truth. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Maybe true or false. No way, this chest is not necessarily telling the truth though. Leave it alone for now. There is no mimic among the black boxes. Fuck off, I don't trust you. Okay. No. I'm not a mimic, it's just pretty helpful. I'm pretty sure it's actually not lying. Because it doesn't work. Wait, actually maybe it does. So if this is true, then this is... Okay, let's start over, I lost my train of thought. Ignore the chest completely, it's fucking me up. Let's start with there is no mimic among the black chests. Diagonal upright from me is a mimic. There is a mimic among red chests. The bottom row contains no mimics. There's no way to know this based on where we started. The top row contains no mimics. Okay, so assuming this chest is true, then this chest has to be true. But assuming this chest is true is an assumption, I think. No, it's not. Because if this chest is a mimic, then this chest is a liar. But this chest can still be true. There is a mimic among the red boxes, which isn't possible. Okay, I'm just gonna open this one. Fuck it. So now I don't have to think about it. I think logically this has to be correct, but my beer brain... I've drunk too much beer for now. Let's drink more beer. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. The bottom row contains no mimic. There is no mimic among the black boxes. That's clearly impossible. Okay. This one is really fucking me up. Where do we start from? I understand why this is not a mimic, because of its relation to these two, but the others are such a pain. Let's assume there is a mimic on the bottom chest, because this can always be a mimic itself. This statement is kind of useless for it. So let's assume this is also a mimic. There is no mimic among the black boxes. Is that a lie? And we already have too many chests. So this doesn't work at all, as you can see. This can't be true if this is a mimic. This cannot be a mimic, I think. So let's assume this is true for a bit. Too much braining to explain my logic. It's this. Top row contains no mimics. It looks like this. Am I going to die if I press this? Is there another version that works? Let's find out. Maybe somebody can explain the correct logic. I knew it was right, but I cannot say it in words and explain why. Was probably no way to determine it, and I just wrote the gacha. Well, I do play Arknights, so I deserve that. One mimic is hiding in a black box. That doesn't necessarily mean... Okay, so this has to be true, because in this game's logic, if it says X number is hiding in that box, it doesn't mean that there's two mimics. So this has to be wrong. And this has to be wrong. And then everything else is right. Yeah, it's okay, one mimic is hiding in a blue box. Correct. One mimic is hiding in a blue box. All three of these are correct. Ignore them. Zero mimic hiding in red boxes is bullshit. But okay, we know there's one mimic here. So there's only one mimic left. Shut up. I almost pressed the wrong button again. Fuck. Okay, zero mimics are hiding in black boxes. This has to be a lie, because this is true, and why am I thinking about this? Lucked out with the second magic. Saves health. Candy. Beer. This has to be true, so this is true. The bottom row has to have at least one mimic, because there's only one under a chest. Top row contains no mimic is correct, so this is correct, so these ones are dying. There goes the stuff. I could have repaired it, but let's ignore that. How much damage do these things do? I guess we'll find out. Less than 20, whatever health I had, I guess. Oh, we have the moron protection. Finally! We're not going to die like a moron. We're just going to waste the charm like a moron. Okay, we have a whetstone, so we don't need another. Do we have food for when I start starving to death? We have food, yeah. Health potions, enough of them. We have too many. Attack up candy is all we need. Oh, now we're getting fucky. Top row has at least one mimic. Okay, that makes it. This one is easy. At least either all of these are correct or all of these are wrong. The top row contains no mimics. The bottom row contains no mimics. The top row contains a mimic. The bottom row contains a mimic. So, this is the first version. That's correct. Let's see what happens if all three of these chests are wrong, and if it makes sense. Because they're all saying the same shit, so they're either wrong or right together. We end up with 4 chests, because this one doesn't match the rest, so these are all correct. Am I clicking on the right chests? I guess we'll find out. Suppose I did. Beer. We're going until I run out of beer. Diagonal down right from me is not a mimic. Diagonal down left from me is not a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. Diagonal up left from me isn't a mimic. Diagonal up right from me, this one isn't a mimic. This is incorrect. There's not enough mimics in this room. So this pattern leads us to conclude this is a mimic. If this is a mimic, then this is a mimic, then this is a mimic. So this is a mimic, isn't a mimic, is a mimic. That doesn't work. This also leads to 4 mimics. Fuck. Where did I fuck up? Restart the chain. Assume this one is wrong. So this is a mimic. Diagonal down right from me is a mimic. Diagonal down right, down left from me is a mimic. So this can be a mimic, or it leads to a line where everything is a mimic. So this has to be correct. Otherwise we instantly end up with too many mimics. Because isn't a mimic set by a mimic is a mimic. So all of these are correct, right? Yeah. Okay, so it looks like this. Diagonal up left, and you're both fucking liars because there's nothing else left. Moving on. At least I have the idiot protection, so I get to play faster. I already have one of these, don't need another. Top row contains no mimics. Just assume this is a liar, probably is. Bottom row contains no mimics, these are contradictory. Box on the right is a mimic, part of this. Top row contains no mimics. The top row has at least one mimic. Diagonal upright from me is not a mimic. Okay, where do we start from this? Let's assume this is correct. So these two are wrong, which means this is correct. The box on the right is a mimic, the bottom row contains no mimics. This is wrong instantly, so this is valid. Diagonal upright from me isn't a mimic. We end up with 4 mimics. So we started by assuming that this box here is not a liar. We were wrong. Somewhere the chain was broken. Let's assume this box is a liar. The top row has no mimics. The bottom row has at least one mimic. So it has to look like this then. Diagonal upright from me is a mimic. The bottom row contains a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. If they're saying the same thing, they confirm each other, yeah. But you have to make sure that more chests are saying the same thing than the amount of mimics that are left lying around. Okay, so this one is racist and is going for the black one. This one is not racist. The top row has at least one mimic. Racism, let's go with the racism assumption first and see how it works out. The box on the right is not a mimic, confirming this one. The top row has at least one mimic, confirmed. There is a mimic among the black ones, there is a mimic among the black ones. There is no mimic among the blue ones. This doesn't work. Racism is false, shockingly. Let's assume this is correct. The box on the right isn't a mimic. The top row has at least one mimic. There is a mimic among the black ones. Fuck, this doesn't work. Other way, because there's two boxes saying there is a mimic and they're contradicting each other. So this one, let's go back for a bit. Let's start with this box being a mimic and go from there. There's multiple conflicts going around. The box on the right is a mimic. Let's assume that. That's not possible. This box has to be a mimic. Because if this box isn't a mimic... No. Let me drink more beer first. Middle has to be right, yeah. Let me just try to explain my logic in word things. So this has... The problem with this being correct, this box cannot possibly be correct because these two boxes are contradictory. So one of them has to be a mimic. The top row has at least one mimic. Yeah, so this one is correct because there's definitely a mimic on top. Since this one is correct, the black box is correct. Racism is no more. The box on the right is not a mimic. Confirmed. Since we know the black box is not a mimic, this one is correct. Red box is racist. And wrong, more importantly. The other red box is correct. This is always bullshit, this is always bullshit. Armor, hooray! We have a white stone, so everything else, buy more candy. Zero mimics are hiding in black boxes. There is no mimic among the black boxes. The top row contains no mimics. So it's a possibility that all of these are true. It's definitely not the case, but let's assume that first. Okay, it's easier to just assume they're all fucking liars. Let's do that, actually. So we can tell that they're not all liars, because there's one, because then we end up with 4 mimics. Because there's some contradictions here. So these have to be true, because they support each other. 0 mimics are hiding in black boxes. The top row contains no mimics. There is no mimic among the black boxes. So these are all together anti-racists. Let's waste our limited supplies to figure out which one is the leftover. 1 mimic is hiding in a red box. This is almost certainly true. No, it is true. There's no other way it could be. Because, say, this box was like this. Wait, no, I'm making shit up. Never mind. The top row contains no mimics. Yeah, these are also self-referential. We can ignore them. We're left with 4 boxes. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Bullshit. Diagonal up left from me is a mimic. Bullshit. 1 mimic is hiding in the red box. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Bullshit. Correct. And we're done. That was faster than the first dungeon. The extra beer helped us carry this run through. Heal up first. That's it. That's the stuff. Yeah, the younger you are, the more intel it gives. Oh my god, what a dog shit potion. I'm on the last floor and it couldn't even heal me all the way. Do I have shit to throw at them? That I do. These are all ranged back so they can't respond. We'll just win the DPS check. Oh, I'm not an alcoholic. I haven't drunk any beer since Friday or something. Also, actually don't drink a lot. That's why 2 beers is a lot for me. Oh, no. 2 1-liter beers, but still. Yay, let's make it even harder. Increase starting health. God, that's useless. Standard. Level 3. No, I'm about 1.5 liters in. A 1 liter does nothing for me. Well, this cup is definitely not 500 milliliters, so I'm a bit more than 1.5 liters, but you get what I mean. Obviously true. The box on the right isn't a mimic, the box on the left isn't a mimic. You can keep talking to each other. Diagonal up left from me isn't a mimic. This is correct. Diagonal down left from me is a mimic. The bottom row has at least 1 mimic. So this has to be wrong. Wait, shit, maybe it doesn't. These are all... Let's just open the safe chest first. So these are arguing with each other. Diagonal up left from me is not a mimic. Let's assume this is true. The box on the right is not a mimic. This does not work, obviously. The bottom row has at least 1 mimic. this one has to be correct, so this is a liar, so this is a mimic. Wait, something's getting fucked up here. We know one of these has to be a mimic. And this is out of the way. Diagonal down left is a mimic. Let's assume this is true. Diagonal up left from me is not a mimic. That doesn't work right now, because we end up with 2 red boxes. Also, this box is lying, so it's also a mimic. And then we have 3 mimics. So this box has to be a liar. Diagonal down left from me is not a mimic. So this box is saying the truth. This box is saying the truth. This one is a liar. And this one is correct. Fuck. What did we fuck up? Oh yeah, the bottom row has no mimics. That's what we fucked up. It should have been this box instead of this box. Let me show you some of the other ones instead, because I'm just spamming the standard ones. But there's other difficulties as well. Let's look at them. The random one is more than interesting. The number of mimics is random. However, the number of mimics is guaranteed to be less than half the total number of treasure boxes. It really does remind me of Sudoku, yeah. Sudoku is a good comparison to this. But with more of a logic puzzle vibes. There is a mimic among the red boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes. One of these is a liar, so let's ignore them for a bit. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. We know one of these is a liar, so these ones are true. So this one is a liar. There is no mimic among the black boxes. Is there a way we can actually come to that conclusion from the facts given? We know there's only one mimic here, so 2 boxes are saying there is no mimic among the black boxes. Yeah, let me just... If the black box is not a mimic, then this one has to be a liar. That's right? Yeah. The trick here is that we're not necessarily certain how many chests are mimics. The box below me is not a mimic. There is no mimics among the black boxes. Okay, we're done. So this is a good test, because I think it considers 1 and 2 to be true statements and 0 to be a false statement in the context of this box. So if this is true, then if this is false, it would only say 0, not 2. Let's see if this is right. No, fuck. That makes 0 sense. I picked 2 chests here. The box below me is a mimic. Yeah, because there's 2 chests here. Oh, let's show up the expert one too. That works differently, but it's also funny. It starts normal, but then it adds different conditions. Let's see if we get far enough to actually show them off. There is a mimic among the red boxes. We only have one mimic. So, is there anything that contradicts this? No, so this is either true or right. So let's assume it's true. Then this is true. The box on the right isn't a mimic, so this has to be a mimic. This is option 1. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. This is definitely true. Actually, this is just right. There's no goat in the bottom row. Is an example of the chest saying something else. When we open the chest, we get various shit. We can see what we get. We can use this later. I'm not sure how this works. So, does this mean there are other items here, and if we open everything we're not gonna get gold a single time? Or does this imply that there could be a mimic there? I'm gonna open them to find out if any one of those is a mimic. Okay. We got gold, so this is just a fucking liar. This is what it is. That still doesn't confirm my statement, because I need this chest to be true to be sure. Because a mimic won't give us any gold, is the problem. The box below me isn't a mimic, the box on the left isn't a mimic. So this has to be right, the top row contains no mimics, the box below me isn't a mimic, so it has to be this one. Attack the innocent creature. There's some gold somewhere in the bottom row. Okay, let's just leave that alone for a bit. I want to see how these statements work and what we can derive from them later in the logic of the game, but we'll leave it alone for now. The rightmost column contains a mimic. There is a mimic among the red boxes. Assume this is wrong, so it looks like this. The box above me is not a mimic, so this has to be correct. The leftmost column, so since we know the chest is there, let's just open all three of these and see what we get. So there was gold here, so this has to be correct, right? Yeah. I still don't get how this works. Does gold mean there is no mimic, because we get some reward, and it's talking about the reward. But if we get eaten by a mimic, we don't get shit either. I'm gonna have to keep experimenting with this chest until I find out. Avoid starving to death. Equip best. Eat candy. Sell shit. A charm so early I can't buy it. Extremely helpful. The box below me is a mimic. The box on the right isn't is a mimic. This one is a liar. Instantly contradicts. Because if this is true, then this is a mimic, and this one is saying that this isn't a mimic, so it is a mimic. Didn't we fight a goblin already this run? Am I missing something? You know, other than my staff, obviously, which broke. Do we have one of these? Yeah, we do. We have a weapon. Close enough. Moving on. There are two mimics from here on. Two mimics hide side by side. So if this chest is a mimic, the mimic could be anywhere. Okay. So these are just the mimics, because they can't both be true. And only one of them can be wrong, so they have to be the mimics. Or not. They could just both be right. The top row has at least one mimic. If this is lying. Yeah. Clearly I need more beer. Let's go into the random one a bit. The box on the right is a mimic, the box on the left is a mimic. One of these is a mimic. One of these is also a mimic. So one mimic is here and one mimic is here, so these are both correct. This is useless, this tells me that this is... And I can't determine the other two. Wait, fuck. Hmm? Oh, this is saying it is a mimic. I thought it isn't a mimic. Clearly... Okay. Clearly my brain is out of it now. Since I'm failing at reading. The logic was correct, the reading was not. I'll finish my beer and then stop the stream. One of these is a mimic, the box on the left isn't a mimic. The box on the left isn't a mimic, so one of these has to be a mimic. Because they can't both not be mimics, so these are correct. That doesn't work, fuck. Okay, so it has to be like this, right? Let's just assume my half-baked logic is correct. You know, because it is. It's not 50-50, I just didn't read it correctly. My answer was correct, I just had the wrong tick on because I didn't read it correctly. There is a mimic among black boxes. This is correct because this is correct. The top row contains no mimics. Two of these boxes contains a mimic. Okay, this is about to get annoying. Let's get rid of these boxes. So, let's assume the top row contains no mimics. Then the bottom row has at least one mimic. Fucking obviously. This is useless to me. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. This is a lie. And then this could be a lie or truth. Alternatively, the top row does contain a mimic. This one. And then either this one could be a mimic or this one could be a mimic. Either way, this condition is met. Or if it isn't met and there's only one mimic, this one is the mimic. So let's assume this is a mimic. There is a mimic among the blue boxes, correct. So in this circumstance, this has to be correct. I feel like this has to be correct because otherwise there has to be a mimic. There has to be... If there is one other mimic, then this is a mimic itself. So this one has to be correct, I think. Let's go with that logic. And just ignore it for a bit. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. A lie. It looks like this. Then this is a lie and doesn't work. But this can always be a mimic itself, is the problem. And then this is correct. This is annoying. I'm moving on. Feel like I'm getting bullshit. The one where there's two mimics is too bullshit for me. It can always be a mimic itself, or not be a mimic and be correct. Wait, shit, so that one had to be correct. So I could have just ticked it. I should have just opened, whatever. One of these boxes contains a mimic, two of these boxes contains a mimic, these ones are arguing. Okay, so true, 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 true. 0 mimics are hiding in blue boxes. There's no way to know. It could be one or both. Attack! Next door. There is no mimic among the red boxes, you fucking liar. The box below me isn't a mimic. Let's assume this one is correct first. Correct. Leftmost column has one or more mimics. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. There is no mimic among the black boxes. This is wrong either way. The top row contains no mimics. So this is one variation that's possible. But that's too vague. Let's assume this is wrong. There is a mimic among the red boxes. This one can still be right. So this box is useless to me. Useless as hell. Let's ignore it for a bit. Which box is most useful to start with here? There is no mimic among the black boxes. There is a mimic among the blue boxes. The leftmost column has one or more mimics. Let's assume this is wrong. No, let's assume it's right, because that gives us certainty. The other has too many variations because it doesn't confirm or deny anything about the other boxes. The box below me isn't a mimic, so this has to be a mimic. There is no mimic among the black boxes. There is a mimic among the... So this is one option, for example. But if we just ignore this box, because it's saying I'm not a liar, in a sense, and this is saying the same thing with extra steps. If we assume we can ignore this box for a bit, the box below me is not a mimic. If this is, let's say this is right, the box below me is a mimic. The top row contains no mimic. That doesn't work. So this box has to be true at least. So if that box is true, then this box has to be true. There's no way to confirm or deny whether this box was true or not, unless I can confirm this box. I'm 100% sure on these two boxes though. The rest of them are bullshit. Because ignore all of these three boxes. This box is just saying I am not a liar. So there's no way to tell with this box. This box, if we ignore these three boxes, is saying I am not a liar. You know, it's the only one on the top row, in a sense. Again, with this box, it's just saying the red box, but it's the only red box left. So again, I am not a liar. There's too many possibilities. Do I have a candy that can bullshit my way out of it? Like, I don't. Moving on. That one's just RNG. Too many valid variations. Because all of the boxes are self-referential and not talking about the other boxes. There is no mimic among the red boxes, fuck you. This is correct because three boxes are saying it. The rightmost column has no mimics. The box below me is a mimic, so this is correct. This should be correct. Eh? What? Yeah, it obviously contains a mimic. This one, because I knew this one was a mimic. Oops. That's the fault of not double checking. Still have about half a cup of beer to go through, so one more run. Let's do this one. It's annoying that the boxes can just lie. So let's assume this is true. The bottom row contains a mimic. So one of these has to be fake. we only have one mimic, so the top row can't contain a mimic, the box below me is a mimic. The box on the right is not a mimic, the box... So this is one option. This one cannot be false. If this one is a liar, and the bottom row is like this, one mimic, so the top row contains no mimic. So this one has to be true, or we get two mimics on top. The bottom row contains a mimic. Since it's only one, this has to be true, then this is true, then this is true, the box, and this is the liar. Oh, for fuck's sake. No mimic. These agree, this is the liar. I don't care what the other ones say. Why not? There is no mimic on red. The box on the right is a mimic. There's goat somewhere on the bottom row. So again, if there isn't goat, does that mean there's mimic? Let's open all the bottom boxes and see. Okay, so this one was correct, and I still don't know if this is gonna be a mimic or not. But I haven't had a mimic ever kill me. When I open boxes it says there's gold in. So this has to be a liar, and there's no mimic among the red boxes, is obviously true. Moving on. Do I have a candy? Yay! Oh, that didn't fix my attack. How tragic. Magic covers it. I'm out of beer. This will be the last turn. The bottom row contains a mimic. Assume this is true. One mimic, so this has to be correct. There is a mimic among the black boxes, so it has to be this one. Let's see if this checks out. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Check. The box above me is not a mimic. Check. There is no mimic among the blue boxes. Another path of logic. Say the same thing, so this one is correct. Oh, this is fucked. Just open these boxes first. We have two goats and we found one goat. So one of these boxes has gold in them. But I think there's gold in this box. No, this is a mimic. Okay. So if a box says there is no goat, that might mean it's a mimic. Okay. I wanted to know how this works. That's more important to me than continuing the run. So, if the box says there is goat, because it said there's no goat, so it's correct. So if a box says there is goat, either it's a mimic, or if it's not a mimic, that means there's no mimic in any of the other boxes. That's useful to know how goat works. No points. The name of the game is Mimic Logic. Probably. It says on the stream window, dude. Check underneath. In case you have it wrong. Last sip of beer. They say the same shit. The box on the right is a mimic. The box on the right is a mimic. The box below me isn't a mimic. This one's correct. This one's wrong. This one's correct. There is a mimic among black, so one of these two. This one isn't a mimic. There is no mimic among blue. The bottom row contains no mimic, so this one's a liar. Hopefully this run doesn't last too long, because I'm all out of beer. No, completely. Okay, there's no goat in the box to my left. So, if it's a mimic, that means there's no goat in it. Let's assume it's a mimic for a bit. Then this is correct. This box isn't a mimic. And that's already wrong. So this is probably the mimic. The box below me is a mimic. That doesn't work either. So maybe there's just no goat in this one. Which doesn't mean that this one itself isn't a mimic. But it should mean that this one can't be a mimic, right? Let's open it and see. So this one's correct. And this one's correct, so the box on the right is a mimic. Okay, then we're done. Was this the one with two mimics, or are we still on one mimic? Okay, time to let the beer wear off. I'll be ending the stream here today. I'm happy to have showed you the game. That's enough for this stream. I'll be back to streaming, guys, for tomorrow. Good night.